Do you think this is just a beautiful tiara? No, it's a piece of evidence. It's a scandal the royal family tried to bury in their vaults for almost 80 years. When Princess Eugenie appeared in this emerald blaze, the world gasped. But behind the admiration lay a jolt for royal watchers. Why did she wear the very jewel that two queens in a row had point-blank rejected? The Queen Mother herself and Elizabeth II. Today, we're going to reveal what the official chronicles conveniently omit. We'll crack open the mystery of the emerald kokoshnik. Get ready, you're about to discover why this appearance became a genuine sensation and what unspoken ban Princess Eugenie defied. Be sure to watch this video to the very end, and you'll understand that behind the glitter of these stones lies a story worthy of a Hollywood thriller. That day, the world expected anything from the bride. Family diamonds, perhaps sapphires, like Diana's. But certainly not this. When Princess Eugenie stepped out of the Rolls-Royce, a vivid green, almost forbidden fire blazed upon her head. A tiara the royal family had hidden for almost 80 years, as if it bore an unspoken stigma, as if its sparkle could reveal what was meant to remain silent. Today, we're going to crack open the royal vault and uncover the true story of the emerald kokoshnik. To understand the genesis of this treasure, we need to go back to 1919. The world had barely recovered from the thunder of the First World War's cannons, but change was already in the air. Old Europe was crumbling. 4 empires, including the Russian, had fallen, and from their ruins, a new, wild and dazzling era of jazz and Art Deco was being born. It was at this tectonic shift in time that our main character emerged, Dame Margaret Greville. She was not an aristocrat by birth. The daughter of a beer magnate, thanks to a shrewd marriage and immense wealth, she stormed London society and became its unofficial queen. Her salons were legendary, future monarchs sought her friendship, and her passion was jewels. For women like Mrs. Greville, jewelry wasn't just an accessory. It was a symbol of power, an instrument of influence, and a tangible embodiment of ambition. It was with such ambition that she entered the Parisian boutique of Boucheron on Place Vendôme. Her order was audacious and precise. While Russian aristocrats, fleeing the revolution, were liquidating their last family jewels in Paris and London, Margaret Greville didn't want to buy a piece of a vanished world. She wanted to create her own, one that surpassed the originals. She commissioned a tiara in the kokoshnik style. The choice was brilliant. The kokoshnik, a traditional Russian headpiece transformed into a tiara, was at the peak of fashion, symbolizing the lost opulence of the imperial court. It was a longing for a grandeur that would never return. And who better to fulfill such an order than the House of Boucheron? The French jewelers, who, until 1917, had recently maintained a boutique in Moscow and perfectly understood the tastes and demands of the Romanovs. The masters at Boucheron received a unique commission to create not merely a copy, but the very quintessence of Russian imperial style, reinterpreted through the lens of the burgeoning Art Deco era. It required blending Slavic grandeur with French elegance, imperial monumentality with the geometric purity of the new century. The order was accepted. In the Parisian workshops, work began in earnest on a masterpiece destined to become a legend. Let's momentarily set aside its history and view the tiara purely as a work of art. At its core lies platinum. This was the metal of a new era. Not the warm, traditional gold, but a cool, austere, and incredibly durable metal, capable of cradling an entire constellation of stones while remaining virtually invisible. From this platinum, Boucheron's artisans crafted a frame in the form of a solid, high crest, mirroring the silhouette of a Russian kokoshnik. This isn't a delicate diadem, it's a monumental wall of light. The canvas of this wall is entirely blanketed with antique rose-cut diamonds set tightly together in a pavé technique. Unlike their modern counterparts, rose-cut diamonds don't loudly announce themselves. They don't explode with 1,000 sparks. Instead, They shimmer softly, mysteriously, like icy frost beneath moonlight. This delicate, almost ghostly gleam serves as the perfect frame for the tiara's crowning jewel. But before we reach the center, our gaze is drawn to 6 symmetrically placed emeralds, 3 on each side. They're like green spotlights, cutting through the diamond blizzard. Their purpose is to prepare the viewer to build a chromatic intrigue and to guide attention towards the heart of the composition. And here it is, the central stone, an oval cabochon emerald weighing 93.7 carats. This isn't just a stone, it's a geological marvel, comparable in weight to a small handful of coins. The jewelers deliberately chose a smooth, convex cabochon cut for it, which doesn't fragment the light, but rather allows you to peer into the very soul of the stone. Within its verdant depths, you can discern veins and inclusions, what professionals poetically refer to as jardin or garden. These aren't flaws, but nature's fingerprints, the stone's unique identity, proving its authenticity and singular character. Imagine for a moment what it's like to hold this tiara in your hands. You feel its pleasant, reassuring heft, the weight of noble metal and an entire fortune in carats. It feels cool against the skin, and once it graces the head, it sits snugly, as if custom fit. Every turn of the head causes the main emerald to catch the light, shimmering from a deep bottle green to a vibrant grassy hue. This isn't merely an ornament. It's a jeweled armor, an uncompromising declaration of status that needed no words. Margaret Greville didn't commission an object, she commissioned a legend. And the Boucheron jewelers surpassed themselves, creating a masterpiece where Russian might converged with French chic and the audacious spirit of the burgeoning Art Deco era. For 18 years, nearly 2 decades, this emerald masterpiece lay nestled in its velvet case in the silent darkness of a bank vault. Why? Was the tiara too bold, too audacious even for a woman like Margaret Greville? Or was she, like a seasoned strategist, awaiting the precise moment to deliver a dazzling blow to society's imagination? That moment arrived only in 1937. Storm clouds were gathering over Europe. The foreboding of another war hung heavy in the air. London pulsed with a feverish glamour, attempting to ward off ill tidings with balls and receptions. The ideal stage for the debut proved to be a concert at the Austrian embassy. Picture this evening. Diplomats, aristocrats, politicians, all the arbiters of global destiny gathered under one roof, exchanging pleasantries while concealing their anxieties. And into this electrified world, she enters. Dame Margaret Greville, no longer young, but exuding powerful poise. That evening, she decided not just to wear jewelry, but to unveil the full might of her collection. The emerald kokoshnik, never before seen in public, blazed upon her head. It was like an explosion. But Mrs. Greville didn't stop there. She completed her look with a massive emerald necklace and heavy pendant earrings. This wasn't just a parure, it was emerald armor. In a hall brimming with the ancestral diamonds and pearls of old aristocracy, her entrance had the effect of a bombshell. This was more than a display of wealth. It was a statement. The reaction was exactly what she had anticipated. Whispers of admiration, envious glances, silent questions. Who was this woman of non-royal blood, daring to outshine everyone? For Margaret Greville, a close friend of the Queen Mother, it was a triumph. She showed everyone that her status and influence were no less than those of titled personages. She was a force to be reckoned with. And the most astonishing part of this story is that this dazzling debut was also the tiara's last public appearance during its owner's lifetime. She wore it only once. Like a brilliant general winning a decisive battle with a single strike, she achieved her goal. She made her mark, dazzled the world, and then returned her greatest weapon to the vault, leaving behind only a legend. In 1942, as the iron grip of war tightened around Britain, Dame Margaret Greville passed away. She left no direct heirs. Instead, in her will, she made an act of incredible generosity and foresight. She bequeathed her entire fabled jewelry collection to her friend and, at the time, reigning queen consort, Elizabeth, the future Queen Mother. This wasn't merely a transfer of treasures, it was a transition of power, a cementing of legacy. The emerald kokoshnik found anew its most prestigious owner in its history. Queen Elizabeth was an icon of her time, a woman whose unyielding spirit, charm, and impeccable style helped the nation navigate its darkest days. She, more than anyone, understood the language and power of jewels. Her jewelry arsenal was immense and her taste legendary. She adored airy diamond garlands from Cartier, delicate floral brooches, and multi-strand pearl necklaces. And into this world of pastels and subtle shimmer, the emerald kokoshnik burst forth, bold, monumental, almost aggressive in its beauty. And here begins the greatest mystery in the tiara's history. The Queen Mother, upon receiving this treasure, never once, not a single time, wore it in public. For decades, from post-war receptions to jubilees and weddings, the tiara remained in invisible captivity. The question that tormented historians and jewelry experts was simple. Why? Why did one of the era's most vibrant women, who adored jewelry, disregard one of the prime masterpieces in her collection? The first theory is self-evident: style. The Greville tiara was the embodiment of Art Deco aesthetics, with its strict geometry and power. The Queen Mother's own style was more Edwardian, romantic, feminine, ethereal. Perhaps she simply felt that this cold, authoritative kokoshnik didn't harmonize with her image, composed of lace, silks, and soft silhouettes. It was too alien, too stark. But there's a deeper, psychological reason. This tiara wasn't merely an ornament, it was Margaret Greville's signature. It was so intrinsically linked to the personality of its first owner, to her reputation as an ambitious socialite, that to wear it would have meant donning someone else's mask. For a queen whose image was meticulously crafted, this was simply unacceptable. The tiara bore too strong an imprint of another's personality. Thus, the tiara's golden age unfolded in absolute silence. It was a paradox. While held by a style icon, it became invisible. Its renown grew in its absence. It transformed from a piece of jewelry into a myth, a ghost in the royal treasury. A legend everyone knew about, but no one ever saw. It was precisely this icy silence, stretching for 76 years, that transformed it into a genuine sensation. The Queen Mother, perhaps without even realizing it, rendered the tiara its greatest service. She didn't just preserve it, she imbued it with mystery. She transformed it into a ticking jewelry time bomb, waiting for its moment to explode onto the world stage. Behind the brilliance of any great treasure, shadows always lurk, and the story of the emerald kokoshnik is no exception. Its main secret and possible curse are inextricably linked to the personality of its first owner. Behind the facade of the respectable Dame Margaret Greville, friend to kings and generous philanthropist, lurked a far more complex, calculating, and scandalous figure. To begin, her entire life was a battle for recognition. Society never truly forgave her for the origin of her fortune, new money made from beer. What's more, for decades, persistent rumors circulated throughout London that she was not just the brewer's daughter, but his illegitimate child. In the conservative Edwardian world, this was an indelible stain, which she attempted to eclipse with the brilliance of diamonds and the assertion of power. Her famous Polesden Lacey estate wasn't merely a backdrop for lavish social gatherings. It was a veritable political stock exchange, an unofficial power hub, where, over a glass of champagne, ministers' fates were sealed and clandestine deals struck. Mrs. Greville was a master of political intrigue, collecting not only priceless jewels, but also the deepest secrets of the world's most powerful figures. She was both feared and fawned over. And this tiara, commissioned as a direct affront to Russian aristocracy, was the crowning glory of her ambitions. It wasn't just an accessory. It was a trophy, a symbol of a commoner's triumph over the old world order. It is precisely this reputation that birthed the most enchanting yet unsubstantiated legend surrounding the tiara. Lore has it that the central emerald boasts truly royal provenance, once gracing Empress Josephine herself, and perhaps even Marie Antoinette before her. This is an incredibly romantic tale, one that amplifies the gem's value manifold. Yet, historians and the archives of the House of Boucheron are unanimous. Not a single shred of documentary evidence supports this legend. More likely, it was a myth either fabricated or enthusiastically perpetuated by Mrs. Greville herself, eager to imbue her treasure with the aristocratic polish she herself lacked. And now, we can circle back to the question of why the Queen Mother never wore this particular piece. Perhaps it wasn't merely a matter of style. For a queen whose authority was rooted in tradition and divine right, donning the Greville tiara would have meant embracing a symbol of power acquired through wealth, intrigue, and whispers. It would have been a silent acknowledgement of Margaret Greville's world, a world the royal family on one hand tolerated, and on the other, disdained. The tiara was too audacious, too ostentatious, too redolent of new money and scandal, and the Queen Mother, with her impeccable judgment, chose to relegate this phantom of the past to the darkness of the vault. The year 2002. Britain was bidding farewell not merely to a queen, but to an entire century. The Queen Mother's passing at the age of 101 marked the end of a momentous era. She was a living bridge connecting the Victorian world to the digital millennium. And as the nation mourned its beloved matriarch, a quiet yet profoundly significant process unfolded within the palace walls, the transfer of her personal legacy. Along with letters, works of art, and countless mementos of a long life, her colossal jewelry collection was bequeathed to her daughter, Queen Elizabeth II. For the emerald kokoshnik, this meant a formal change of ownership. It departed the vault of one queen only to settle in the vault of another. Instead of auction fervor or a dramatic heist, there were merely the dry lines of an inventory and the cool glow of appraisal lamps. The entire jewelry world held its breath. It seemed this was the moment. A new queen, a new era. Perhaps Elizabeth II, more pragmatic and less sentimental than her mother, would finally choose to unveil this forgotten treasure to the world. She had countless occasions, state visits, banquets, jubilees. But no, Queen Elizabeth II, proprietor of the world's most extensive and significant jewelry collection, entirely mirrored her mother's path. She never once appeared in public wearing the emerald tiara, as if, upon receiving the piece, she inherited the unspoken verdict passed upon it decades earlier. The Greville tiara once more retreated into the silence and velvet depths of the royal safe. This dual oblivion, this continuity of silence spanning nearly 80 years, became the definitive chapter in its life in the shadows. The tiara's absence from the public stage only amplified its desirability and mystique. It transformed into a holy grail for jewelry historians. Its value soared with each passing year of silence, now comprising not only carats and platinum, but decades of anticipation and an unsolved enigma. Then came October 12th, 2018. The world, holding its collective breath, tuned into the royal wedding at Windsor. All the jewelry experts and enthusiasts were placing their bets. Would Princess Eugenie wear the famed York tiara worn by her mother, Sarah Ferguson? Or would she opt for something more understated from the Queen's extensive vaults? No one, absolutely no one, was prepared for what happened next. When the door of the vintage Rolls-Royce opened and the bride stepped onto the steps of St. George's Chapel, a collective gasp rippled across the globe. This was no subtle sparkle of diamonds. This was a dazzling emerald inferno. Perched upon the princess's head, it blazed. The very same jewelry phantom, the mythical Greville kokoshnik. After 76 years of obscurity, the legend had materialized. In one instant, the tiara ceased to be a historical anecdote and became the top story on the planet. This was not merely a return, it was a complete reinterpretation. If, for Margaret Greville, the kokoshnik was a weapon, a symbol of power and status, then for Princess Eugenie, it became an expression of personal style and love. She chose it not because it was the most expensive or prestigious, but because it was the boldest and perfectly complemented her red hair and green eyes. She was unafraid of its powerful, almost aggressive aesthetic. She saw in it not the shadow of the past, but the beauty of the present. There was incredible strength and confidence in this choice. Eugenie's gown featured a deep V-cut back, designed not to conceal, but to proudly display the scar from her spinal surgery. And against this backdrop, the selection of such a powerful, forward-looking tiara became the final flourish. She seemed to be saying, "Look at me, at my face, at my happiness." The tiara didn't overshadow her, it accentuated her. She took a treasure with a dubious reputation and breathed new, bright and romantic life into it. On that day, the tiara's value skyrocketed, and we're not talking about money. Its historical significance multiplied exponentially. It ceased to be merely the Greville tiara. It gained a new name, Princess Eugenie's wedding tiara. From a treasure shadowed by scandal, it transformed into a symbol of one of the 21st century's most memorable and heartfelt royal weddings. The long wait paid off 100-fold. The triumphant return had occurred, and it surpassed even the wildest expectations. So, where is this treasure now? After a brief but dazzling appearance at a special exhibition in Windsor Castle in the spring of 2019, where thousands of people had the chance to see it up close, the emerald kokoshnik once again vanished from sight. Its home is neither a museum nor a private collection, but the inner sanctum of the British monarchy, the royal treasury. These are impregnable, climate-controlled vaults where, alongside St. Edward's crown and the scepter with the Cullinan diamond, lie thousands of other jewelry masterpieces belonging to the crown. It was here that its status definitively transformed. Today, it's no longer just an accessory, however incredibly valuable. It's an historical artifact, the physical embodiment of an entire stratum of British history. Each of its owners left their indelible mark upon it. Margaret Greville's ambitions, the Queen Mother's enigmatic silence, Elizabeth II's unwavering resolve, and Princess Eugenie's romantic triumph, all these narratives are now woven into its platinum framework. To wear it now is to carry the weight of this centuries-old drama. And finally, the question on everyone's mind: what is its worth? Attempting to appraise this tiara is akin to putting a price tag on a chapter of history. But if we dissect its value into its constituent parts, the picture that emerges is astonishing. First, there's its material worth. A colossal, top-grade emerald, a cascade of diamonds and platinum. That alone accounts for millions of pounds. Second, it bears the master craftsmanship of the legendary House of Boucheron, which alone doubles its price tag. Yet all of this pales in comparison to the primary factor, its provenance or history of ownership. And here, the Greville tiara holds a veritable royal flush. Its inclusion in the collections of two queens and its starring role in one of the century's most high-profile royal weddings render it utterly priceless. It will never appear at auction. But were it to hypothetically, its opening bid would climb into the tens of millions, and its final price would be utterly unpredictable. Its true worth lies not in carats, but in the legend now inseparable from the object itself. So we return to the central question posed at the very outset. Why was this dazzling masterpiece kept under wraps for so long, and what secret did it hold? The answer is now clear. The tiara wasn't hidden. It was merely put on pause. Its mystery isn't a curse or a hidden flaw. Its secret is the story of its origins, the scent of ambition and new money, a fragrance too pungent for the delicate sensibilities of the old aristocracy. It was too bold a statement, too potent an echo of its first owner, Margaret Greville. The Queen Mother, and later Elizabeth II, with their impeccable discretion, understood that to wear this tiara, one either needed to possess the same audacity as its originator or completely rewrite its narrative. They chose to bide their time. And this long, nearly century-long silence proved not to be the tiara's undoing, but its greatest blessing. It transformed it from a mere beautiful object into a myth, a coveted prize for historians, a dream for connoisseurs. The kokoshnik's appearance on Princess Eugenie was not just a return, it was a true catharsis. She didn't shy away from its storied past. She wore it with such genuine joy and affection that she definitively purged it of all lingering shadows of the past. She didn't merely borrow a jewel from the treasury, she liberated it from the shackles of its reputation, imbuing it with a new, luminous and romantic significance. She completed its story. This, then, is the very magic of authentic treasures. They are silent witnesses, mirrors reflecting not just light, but human passions. They absorb the dramas, ambitions, secrets, and triumphs of their owners. They become the physical embodiment of memory, a chronicle etched in platinum and precious stones, which one can not only read, but also truly experience. The Greville Emerald Kokoshnik is more than a tiara. It's a novel about social mobility, about the clash between the old and new worlds, about the power of female resolve, and about how a single bold decision can alter the fate of even an inanimate object. Its history has proven that the true value of a masterpiece is measured not only in carats or the clarity of its stones. It is measured in the depth of the enduring legend it forges. Stones may dull, metal may age, but the stories crystallized within them are immortal.